10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Hello everybody and welcome to Game 3, the decider between Team Alternate and Team Spirit, to see who continues on in the upper bracket. I'm Llama Down Under, I'm going to be joined by Scansor, and we have pretty much the same bands.
Yep, and the same opening picks compared to the previous game. If they go Darkseer now, then it'll be the exact same bands and picks, I think, for the first phase as it was in Game 2. I think that's fair. I think Alternate, I don't think they'd feel like first pick Doom is the problem in that game. They did have Doom-related problems. They had very serious Doom-related problems, but I think that was based more on the fact that they found themselves in a position where they needed to allot a lot of space to their cores to catch up, and then the Doom couldn't get any kind of scaling at all. It's not usually something that happens when you pick a Doom. In the one sense, you can pick slightly less greedy cores, but it's also just about if the game's going well, there's actually enough space for that many heroes. But here we go, they mix it up, they actually take the pack themselves, and that will be an important change. I went on and on and on about it this last game. Iceberg's pack was absolutely key in winning the game, and also in the draft, I think I was about it last game. When you have these like Lone Druid and Bounty Hunter, which are very one-dimensional, having a versatile hero like Pack is very valuable. So Spirit are gonna have to look elsewhere for that kind of versatile, tempo controlling hero this game.
Yeah, they're gonna ban out the Lifestealer on Team Spirit. Don't want someone who does so well against the bear. And I agree with you, the tempo controller in the puck, especially with how hard of a time Supreme had against the puck in mid. Obviously, we did see the Bounty Hunter die quite a bit, but it seemed to all just be a setup to get the puck a better laning phase. Lion gonna be the next ban out by Alternate, so even though the Lion had a really rough time the first game, I think Alternate's saying it's not a support they want to play against.
Yeah, it's especially good against Pack. It's one of the, we saw how difficult it was for Alternate to control Iceberg's Pack last game, because the best way of controlling him was Doom, and Doom's very slow animation. Doom didn't have a blink for a long time. Lion, it's quite easy actually to control Pack. You just need a blink, and it's very difficult for Pack to react. So I think it's definitely a good ban.
Well, coming up next for Team Spirit, they do ban out the Invoker. I wonder how they thought that could have been run. I guess you can always run safe lane Invoker, or off lane Puck is doable.
Yep, it's possibilities, but I agree, it's a strange ban, and Disruptor does get banned out, and in fact both of the first two games, the team that had Lone Druid and Disruptor won, so I guess no one gets to have that combination this time, and Spirit go for the Dragon Knight, so this is it's really interesting. Game 1 I criticized Goblak for really not drafting meta. Game 2 I felt like he shifted towards it, and Game 3 he's really shifting hard towards it. Whereas Alternate were much more there at the start of the series. But Dragon Knight, Lone Druid, Bounty Hunter, this could be a liquid draft as far as I'm concerned.
5 seconds remaining.
Also, yeah, I really like this. It's got some really great push. It's got obviously some good team fight. If you leave the Lone Druid alone, going to get very farmed. And then of course with the DK, someone who we've talked about, it does very solidly in mid. Even against a Puck, Puck can dodge quite a bit of stuff that's coming out, but they should at least both get farm.
Yep, Alternate decides to get the Darkseer again. I like it. I like still going to the Darkseer, but I especially like getting the Puck first. I think that's an important change in this game. Maybe a little bit more difficult for Puck to face up against kind of lineup, which is more like what Alternate had in Game 1 than what they had in Game 2. If it hits its timing and just comes to end the game at 20 minutes, you have to be ready then to do something about it. In that sense, it was the Pack to control the Spectre, which is this kind of AG carry trying to be... part of the value of AG carries usually is that they're quite loose and can move around the fight quickly, whereas the strength cores that just push hard don't really care that much if Pack coils them, because they just stand their ground usually.
No. Oracle going to be the next pickup. Obviously, the kind of Darkseer counter, you can purge off that Ion Shell. So, also someone who I think here, when you've got a DK, you can go on pretty hard, has that natural healing from the Dragon's Blood. Some nice little bits of synergy.
To me, it's just a further sign that they're going for early timing push, very clearly. It happens, it's the reason they pick it over something like a Dazzle Party is to do with the Darkseer. but they're mostly picking the hero because it's good for the push, and
Dire team
very clear response from Team Alternate, which is the Elder Titan, which is by a lot of people considered the most difficult hero to push into. Combine it especially with a Darkseer pack, suddenly your super tanky pushing heroes look a bit squishier.
10 seconds remaining.
So this might be an interesting approach actually to dealing with it. Again, I keep referencing it, but this is like really kind of the cornerstone of what we know about the meta so far. There were a few games at Epicenter where Liquid would run their push strategies, and people tried the Elder Titan against them and didn't always work. I mean, usually didn't work. So it's the theory there makes sense. Elder Titan should be very good against those early pushes, but we've seen people push past it anyway.
Yeah,
5 seconds
really interesting. Obviously, yeah, the Elder Titan's been showing up. Really excited to see it here. Haven't gotten to Callstone on this patch so far with the Elder Titan. See how that one goes. Gonna be the Clinks ban out, Team Spirit deciding if they don't want it, they don't want their opponents to have it. They're still looking for either an offlaner or a safe laner. The Lone Druid Ghostic did really well in the offlane, but they might decide, since the Lone Druid had such impact, to play him in the safe lane and pick some more traditional offlaner. There's still stuff like the Tide available.
The boss does play Lone Druid, doesn't he? Or
I've seen him play it.
he
Whether
should,
it's
yeah.
I've seen him both play Lone Druid. We'll say that.
Okay. Because I think for the draft that they have, it would be better to have a safe lane Lone Druid in this game.
Radiant
But
team
also ban the Sven, so they're still expecting the offlane Lone Druid. I suppose actually you know what? This Lone Druid should be offlane because the support's Elder Titan and Doom. So the chances are the offlane Lone Druid's actually going to get a lot of value, especially with the bounty hunter. So I actually think it makes perfect sense for Spirit to still pick another one position hero if want to, and makes perfect sense for Ultimate to ban the Sven
5
there.
seconds remaining.
And we'll see, they're the ones that have to pick first now.
Reserve time.
Yeah, Sven gonna be coming as the ban. I like that. It's a Weaver. This is a really unconventional. I'll go with that. A little bit more unconventional from Team Alternate. I'm a little bit worried about Elder Titan and Doom as dual supports.
Yeah, it's exactly, and that's why I think the Lone Druid could easily be offlane, because I don't think they'll do that well in controlling him.
5 seconds remaining.
They felt like they first picked them, and then they felt like when they saw the heavy push, they felt like they needed another really good counter push mechanism, so they go for the Elder Titan. I think they can do fine as supports in terms of like scaling and what they contribute. I just think they won't be able to. I mean, it's very difficult for any supports, to be honest, to shut down a Lone Druid. Weaver picks become very popular recently, especially in combination with Alchemist, but also on its own. And it's good against these kind of drafts where you have these strength tanky pushes, but not a lot to lock down the Weaver. The Dragon Knight's a little bit better at that, can actually lock down the Weaver, but if the game gets to a point where the Weaver has a lot of farm, can really abuse that. You know what I was saying the Spectre should do last game, except the pack kept stopping the Spectre, but could do that very well. Just wriggle around the fight. Well, StarLadder can lock it down too. It's yet another tanky pick to finish off the draft for teams. But also the other thing about the Weaver, before I forget, is the Swarm interacts quite nicely with the Elder Titan's gonna have his aura, he's gonna throw a Spirit on them, then it's gonna be Swarm reducing the armor even further, and like the tanky heroes are gonna have less armor, less magic resistance, look a whole lot weaker than they usually do.
Oh, Bo's gonna be on Slaughter. I hear he really loves gonna get to go Omelet Toggle a bunch. And for Alternate, we'll see how this safe lane Weaver and the support Elder Titan and Doom go. I mean, the Doom did some decent work in the early game. Last game, it's just as we talked about, continually trying to find those picks on Ghostic were very punishing for the
10 seconds remaining.
Alternate lineup.
Yeah, I think I like Spirit's drafts quite a bit more here. I think as long as they get to like their key timings, this could very easily be like a 20-minute go push and rack situation. And it's difficult to see that something stop. I also think Slaughter is like a really excellent, well-suited hero to Avos, the way he likes to play. And it's exactly what his team would need in this game. He gets to like an armlet and a blink and then just pretty YOLO aggressively just initiates fights. And if he gets good initiations, that's almost like enough for them to guarantee they get enough space from it and take objectives afterwards. Yeah, there's plenty of playing room for alternates, and as I said, they've got counter push, but it just feels their draft feels a little bit more flimsy and a little bit more reactive.
We'll see Havost playing up that slot up. Bounty Hunter going to be played by Gold Black again. Sonic on
30
the
seconds
Oracle.
to battle.
Dragon Knight, of course, played by Iceberg. And finally, Ghostic on the offlane Lone Druid.
Yeah,
It's
on
already
that
managed
side,
to get out.
Nisha's playing offlane Darkseer. Katsuo, I'm not sure how you say his name, but he's playing the Jungle Doom again. Supreme is playing Puck mid this time. After having faced it, he's like, I want to do that too. El is playing the Elder Titan supports, and Exotic Deer obviously with the Carry Weaver.
A prize.
Nope. That will be that. I was going to say that already a nice deep ward place for Team Spirit. This is one that a lot of people do know about, but it's a real pain to de-ward. Because to catch this one, you're usually not going to check that high at first. You check the bush often.
Yeah, so people
Beware
often end up
the ward.
using both. Yeah.
Already, I think, a nice placement there. Gold Black already just hanging out in top lane, taking some Ion Shell damage, while Nisha tries to get these supports out of his life. This is going to be a really hard lane here for Nisha. Again, I'm surprised he didn't start with the Iron Talon.
It's... I don't know. It's an awkward thing on Darkseer, because you really just need level 3. And then
Yeah.
it's like, you jungle really well even without Iron Talon.
I'm just not sure he'll get the level 3 here.
Yeah. It's certainly going to be very difficult. I've seen it happen before against Oracle. There's like a... I don't know, people talk about it being a hard counter, but I've seen Darkseer's find experience in this lane. With the bounty hunter here too, it makes it much more difficult though, obviously.
Well, we'll have to see how it goes in the meantime in mid. Supreme getting some good harass out onto Iceberg. It's difficult to do against the DK because of that Dragon's Blood, but of course at early levels Supreme gonna have a bit of the auto attacking and advantage. They go for a stomp onto Gold Black, actually dropping the swarm here. They've also netted him up using the Doom. This should be our first blood. Gold Black eats a fairy fire, but it's not enough. He will fall. Exotic Deer gets very low, but just salves right back up. And already this support duo that we had some qualms about is working out.
I think it said Go Black. That's Ghostic, you mean, right?
I probably said Gold Black when I meant Ghostic, yeah. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, that's what I'm just to check. I was like looking across the map, is someone dying there too? But yeah, it's, I mean, in terms of like making a kill on the Lone Druid, they actually can do that. Overlooked when I was discussing it. Elder Titan's not really the hero that stands around zones out of Lone Druid, but then there's very few supports that do that. But it can definitely participate in killing it, and the Doom's just actively moving into the lane. It's a big difference between this game and last game. The Doom and the Bounty aren't clashing with each other directly, they're operating at different parts of the map. Oh.
Lone Druid going in again. He will get stopped. We'll see the swarm come
He's
up
lagging.
through the minus armor. Nice savage roar coming out, but Casso, he doesn't have the mana. He's just gonna have to stand there and smack him around. It will be enough damage, and this TPN from Oracle will be able to get a return kill onto the Elder Titan. But Doom, well, actually, Casso does not have any mana, but should be able to just walk it off. Oracle, Thunic actually claritying up. While all of this happens, though, the Weaver, of course,
Goblet's
able to
gonna
bomb.
die, I think. Oh,
Oh
not quite.
gosh. Yeah,
He like
very low.
waited really long to snipe the career, ended up tanking the tower to try snipe it. Then he like hit off the Pack Self, and Pack decided to try kill him, but he's gonna end up denying himself now, not too bad, although he's got no XP at all yet.
Oh. That'll happen. We saw last game that he had a bit of a difficult time early, and it just really led into helping his mid get more farm, and if he can do that again, it'd be a big win for them.
Fennec is coming around towards mid this time. I'm not sure what the plan is here. Okay, he's gonna head off now.
May have just been, oh gosh, Nisha is really min-maxing there, living on 8 health, gonna go back to it? I think deciding he has to go home either way because he was out of mana and doesn't want to eat his mango yet. So this mid lane, really even. It's what we expected. The Puck and the DK trading pretty well.
Yeah, the DK actually, I think, has a little bit of an advantage in this lane, especially at the early levels. It might get a little bit more farm, and yeah, it could stay close, or the DK could get a bit of a gap, but Puck will do alright regardless.
Yeah, and I think that for alternate, it should be good enough. What the Puck's getting out of the lane, as you said, a little bit behind. Also, Exotic Deer doing pretty well on the bottom. Obviously, the 2 kills on Ghostic should stop Ghostic from becoming as crazily farmed as he did in that first game. Doxy has managed to hit level 5 through some jungling and taking advantage of the creeps when they're nearby, but of course, Havo's pretty much free farm up here.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, this is the thing I'm worried about. Spirit Skulls are all gonna get good timings on their key items. I don't think there's anything that Ultimate can really do about that. You can kill the Lone Druid a few times, but as long as you don't kill him, like the more devastating thing for Lone Druid actually is getting rid of his Spirit Bear without a resummon, killing it a few times. As long as he has a Spirit Bear whenever he's alive, his farm rate's always gonna be pretty good. He can go back to the jungle. You can't really slow the DK down in the mid lane with a pack, and the StarLadder's not even being laned against, so they're gonna hit their timings, and that means they're gonna start pressuring buildings when they do hit those timings, and Ultimate will have to respond at that point.
Well, Black is taking a moment down bottom just to get some farm. Obviously, Lone Druid can fall back into the jungle. It's not the fastest thing. Would prefer to be in the lane, but going to work out anyway. And Supreme actually, Iceberg's popped that dragon form already. Lost hidden up there, having a blast, because for Puck, that's really hard to deal with, the dragon form.
Yep, just extra farm in her ass. Why not get value out of it?
We'll see if anything else happens to pop up. It looks like both teams right now pretty content to farm up, sit back.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit nerve-wracking if you're Team Alternate, because it's such a clear, direct plan of attack for the enemy team when they hit their timings, and it's less clear for them. Like they're hoping that at those timings when it comes together, they're gonna face off the push and just win a fight. But it's not. I don't think it's a guarantee that they will.
Yeah. Oracle thinking about trying to come behind onto the Doom. This Doom is only level 3, and with the amp damage will go down very quickly. Is there any sort of TP support? It does not look like it, because they're going on bottom as well. The Doom getting healed up, but it won't be enough. But the Bounty Hunter falls on the bottom lane as well. So support for support.
It's Bounty Hunter can die. I mean, it's not a big deal for your Bounty Hunter to be dying and slowly letting early on. It's a little bit of a bigger deal for the Doom. We saw how that in the previous game, he was involved a lot early on, but struggled to keep up with the scaling once there wasn't space in the map, and a couple early deaths can get in the way of that in a similar way.
A nice stomp hitting onto 2. They are slapped up. A ball dropped right on top of them. Nisha getting an early point in that. It won't quite be enough damage. Will they be able to chase down? The Dream Coil dropped onto Iceberg. Goes for the TP out. Do they have the damage? Yes, they do. Just managed to get it. The stomp just in case as well. And Alternate get themselves a nice pick on the DK.
It's a 4-hero rotation. They get 1 kill. Bounty Hunter's getting a lot of experience, and Lone Druid's farming, so...
Oh, here we go. Slithering Crush onto the Doom. Again, in a lot of trouble. Tries to use that Scorched Earth, but it's not going to be enough. And Puck just has to look on while his teammate dies.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds strange to say, but I think it's not a good enough value for Ultimate to get out of rotation when they send 4 heroes to get one of those cores while everyone else is getting value at other parts of the map.
To see if it pays off in the long run. You're not wrong in that they didn't convert it into an objective. Top tower unscathed. Bottom tower has taken quite a bit of damage, but one of the less important towers here for the Dire. So obviously would have been more impactful if Ultimate could have taken the top tower.
Yeah, and I mean, Ultimate don't really have heroes that are good at pressuring towers at all. It's the complete opposite of Spirits. Spirits are gonna, when they find opportunities after winning a fight, whatever, they're gonna capitalize and always get towers, and Alternates have to actually work hard to make sure they get those towers. Might even see Exotic there picking up a Blightstone just to help that when they do get those opportunities.
Back to the jungle for everyone, it looks like. Now, Doom, we talked about it last game. You mentioned that you thought Doom had a really hard time farming. Do you think it's just that Casso needs to focus less on trying to find those pickoffs and more spending time in the jungle taking advantage of that? Or do you actually think it should be different itemization? Because last game, Doom very heavily brought up the dust, brought up wards and sentries as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's for me the biggest problem last game is I think it's good for Doom to be very active and involved early on. Although you are supposed to make sure that you like in between go devour, creep, farm a wave every now and then. the bigger problem last game is that his cores needed to recover. They needed space to recover from being under pressure early on, and so he didn't have any space at all after the laning stage to get that value. And Doom really just needs very little. If you're just not dying and devouring stuff whenever you can, he will keep scaling.
If you're just not dying, that's, I think, one of the harder asks here. Probably building up a drums here for the Doom, so he'll be a speedy race car. What have we got going on here, though? Exotic Deer, they found Gold Black again, one more auto attack. Joystick tries to help out by killing off the swarm, but it won't be enough.
Yeah, Goblack's used to being the resident feeder on the team. He has been on all of his teams, and Bounty Hunter is, again, it's one of the heroes that's most suited to feeding and not really caring that much about it. Obviously, the more he feeds, the less valuable it is each time he does die, and once he's got track online, it's gonna make it as if that never happened as soon as they start getting a few track kills. Lone Druid, by the way, is completed Midas now, I think. Yeah. And Slaughter halfway to Blink on top of Armlet, Dragon Knights getting closer to Armlet, and that's gonna be the first nice timing for Team Spirit, where they have all his items.
Yeah, I think something that's really scary, as you mentioned, for Team Spirit, the Radiance on the Bear, be it the finished Armlet or a Blink up on either Herbost or the Dragon Knight being played by Iceberg, a lot of those signal power peaks of Team Spirit, obvious ones where they can take engagements better, and I feel like you don't have the same thing necessarily on alternate. Sure, they can get a blink on the puck, they can work towards a mech and a blink on the dogs here, although dogs here actually already finished that mech, so really good timing there. But I'm just not sure what a perfect team fight looks like for alternate.
It's interesting to me that L's maxing Stomp. I don't know, I haven't looked closely at it, so I'm not sure if the other Elder Titans recently are all maxing Stomp. It doesn't seem to me like the route you'd go for, like, trying to maximize the value you get out of a team fight. Like, I don't know, the scaling on that skill is not really that important, I think, whereas the other skills really make a difference.
Oh, Phonic should be a quick pick up there with the Dream Coil. Will they find anybody else? I don't know either with the Elder Titans, because obviously it varies a little bit between offlane and support. So on this support ET, I can understand deciding that Stomp, getting that extra duration so they can catch up is the most important thing. Supreme maybe in a spot of trouble, but Herbost doesn't have a gap closer yet, and actually a Veil up, there'll be a nice Stomp going out. They drop, wow, they dropped the ET ult. Split Earth coming out, and Herbost in a little bit of trouble. The Doom is well onto the Dragon Knight. Herbost will get blown up. They're still trying to chase, but Gold Black, so difficult to catch. They do manage to dust him up. Exotic Deer has eyes on him. They have to try and catch him, but he's close to a tower. I'm not sure again if they can dive this far, and of course he's getting a huge buff from the tower aura.
Yeah, so these are, I mean, this is a good timing for Alternate to get aggressive, because I mean, we talk all the time about timing, but Spirits are getting very close to timings where they're going to start pushing, so obviously it's a good timing to try and slow them down, can make a big dent in their increase. But the thing is, you've got a Lone Druid who's like pushing another side, farming up in the meantime, and they only kill like if they kill the Slaughter and the Dragon Knight there, it's a very big deal. Killing just one of them, slightly smaller deal, especially considering the fact that you use Doom. And I think Spirit can actually make an aggressive move towards the bot lane now. They'd like Slaughter to have Blink to make this kind of gank, but I don't think they need it. I think he can just sprint in and they can probably kill the Doom. He doesn't need basically right now.
Yeah, Doom is tracked up. There's the route that they needed. Slaughter's gonna come in, give him the Slithering Crush, and damage comes out, and it's just a matter of a few auto attacks.
Yeah.
These root commands that we've been seeing.
Well, it's happened for both teams, so at least there's that. They've taken turns at the hero. We're both getting closer to his Blink with that. And of course, because it's a track kill, it like usually you die once as the carry, and then you go and get a kill afterwards. It doesn't even out, but when it's a track kill, it really does give you a lot of value.
And Herbost very close to having that Blink, already has the Armlet finished. Dragon Knight also has his Armlet done. And as you talked about, they lose the tower, the tier 1 in bottom. For Alternate, that's a really important tower. It protects most of their jungle.
Yeah. And there's going to be a lot more towers dying pretty soon. The tier 1s on both sides are pretty low already, and especially Dragon Knight, Lone Druid wipe those very quickly if they get opportunities on them. But there's, I mean, if we see a fight sometime soon, there's a mech up on the docks already. Puck's got Veil. Weaver's got maxed out the Swarm, and you have an Elder Titan, and like they're actually in a really solid position to 5v5 right now. So right now, actually, it's Spurs who wants to split up and push the other waves and get their items, I think, rather than take these fights.
Power push will be going in favor of alternate. Looks like Team Spirit want nothing to do with it. Again, Go Black, despite all the deaths, getting a decent timing on that level 6 on the Bounty Hunter, has the track up and is ready to use it. And we haven't looked at Ghostic too much, but he's already got 2,600 gold saved up. So the Radiance is coming.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing about alternate is their lineup isn't like built to push. Pushes quite slowly, and so it's like I'm saying at the moments if they're 5v5 they'll be favored, but usually you get okay. Well,
yeah, in middle, Iceberg goes super deep on the Elder Titan, has the haste rune, is going to be vacuumed backwards. Do they have the damaging armlet toggles? And it looks like Iceberg is on out. A nice quick pick off there.
So usually when you know that your team has a favorable 5v5, you get more value out of it by grouping up and pushing, and the enemy team is forced to 5v5 you because you're pushing too effectively. And that's why, it's part of the reason why heroes like Lone Druid, Dragon Knight, like and those kind of heroes are more valuable at the moment. You don't have those heroes in your team like Team Alternate here, even though you know you're stronger at 5v5ing. If you go push, the enemy team can get good value by split pushing still, because you're not pushing quickly enough.
Definitely, it does feel like Team Spirit has the better lineup for taking those structural objectives, so for alternate, they're gonna have to win some big team fights. Saving up a lot of gold on dogs here. I'm assuming it's the Blink up next. Gonna go speed himself up, going off to Funnick. Looks like they should be able to catch up to this guy. Vacuum back, and Funnick actually uses the false promise on himself. Is gonna get that double here. Meanwhile, Go Black kills up the courier down in top lane, and Funnick gonna be just fine. Does get netted up. They force the TP rotation from Iceberg, but the entirety of the rest of Spirit is coming their way. They have to back up, and suddenly Lone Druid almost has the relic.
I think if Ghost wants to fight, it's interesting. Okay, he's just gonna deny the tower. Yeah, fight might not have been the best idea there. Also completely unnecessary, as you see Lone Druid just been farming the time. Gonna have a relic now, and yeah, that Radiance timing is gonna be very problematic for alternate, I think, because all of the stuff they have with like the Veil and the Swarm and stuff to make people weaker, it's not good enough to deal with Spirit just yet.
Well, Swarm coming on through onto Funnick. Of course, that false promise will be on CD, so they should be able to get the kill here. Funnick is being healed up by those flames. And oh my goodness, now they are too deep. Doom comes out to Iceberg, and they will manage to get a beautiful split earth that pulls Iceberg back in, and that is one dead DK. I was worried for a second there that Alternate had overextended, but I knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, maybe if StarLadder was there, but he wasn't anywhere nearby, or... Yeah, if like the whole Spirit was there to suddenly turn on them and blink and stomp and Lone Druid's there with DPS. Or with just those heroes there, it looked better than it was. It looked like, oh wow, Oracle's not dead, but there isn't really any follow-up.
Just thrown out onto Go Black. Not sure they have the catch. They do throw out the net, but without anybody else close, needing probably the puck, the damage that they want. Supreme, by the way, does have the blink and the veil.
Yeah. The good news also is that the Doom is twice as farmed as he was at the stage last game. Like, he's doubling up on Bounty. It was the exact opposite last game. Bounty was doubling up on him. Like, he's got a whole drum. So not having that problem. And that kind of makes sense because they're not the ones with like the greedy cores. They're also not the ones with cores that feel like they need to be catching up. So there's more space for him to get the farm in between.
Oh, Iceberg in trouble again. Gonna put his armlet on. Should be fine, just able to walk away. The Swarm not doing enough damage there for armor reduction.
Alright, here comes the Lone Druid Radiance. So this is if
they dust up Go Black, they'll get the quick pick off. You were saying about the Radiance.
Yeah, I think if a fight happens shortly after the Radiance pickup, it could actually be... This is like the first time where I feel like Spirit might actually have a favorable setup to take these fights. So they might go for it just right now. Yeah, Ghost is chasing, but probably being told, hang on, we're not with you. Baits up the Scorched Earth, that is something. It's not a terrible idea to wait for the Scorched Earth and then go into a fight. It's quite an important skill actually.
Well, here we go. Casser gonna get caught out by the Slithering Crush here. In a lot of trouble, healed up by the Scorched Earth. And the mech comes through at the last second. Split Earth gonna manage to hit on just her bows. Gets the bear as well. False Promise immediately thrown out onto her bows. Vacuum back into wall and Puck jumps on all of them. There's the Dream Coil. There's the Veil doing mass damage to all of them. Iceberg gets zoomed up. It looks like her bows will be the only survivor. But that vacuum initiation with the Waning Rift orb follow-up from Puck just destroyed Spirit.
You know what's set up for it? It's so obscure, but it's like, it was the swarm. They were standing around, attacking a swarm of each other, and then Darkseid's like, okay, well, if you can all stand around and like, delouse one another, alright, fine, I'll vacuum you. It's just like, I don't know, it's, we definitely see it's part of the strength of Alternate's lineup there, where it's like, you're scared of being caught in the area of the Elder Titan, the Puck, the Darkseid, but there's also the swarm which you can't really fight while it's on you. So there's a lot of annoyances.
Interestingly as well, Nisha went for a Midas, now has finished off the Guardian Greaves. Radiant's Courier goes down again to Gold Black, because that's the rules. But I was expecting Nisha to go for a Blink, but obviously, as we just saw, doesn't need it.
Yeah, and it's also, I feel like the one thing is that it's not as needed, but the other thing is that they're a little bit sensitive to the fact that they have less scalability in some senses, especially in terms of like their big damage dealers. They've got, at the moment, it's what they're representing is kind of gimmicky. It's like, wow, we have this combo of all these things that make you have less resistance, less armor, and then from that we only need small damage instances to kill you, but that only works for so long.
Problematically, oh, Puck actually going in. Dream Coil gonna be the follow-up there. Does have a DD nice vacuum wall back in, and it looks like Nisha can do no wrong. Blink or not, they'll catch one. Then Roach does go the way of the DK. Funnick should be healing up in that False Promise. Gonna be back up to mostly full health, and it looks like Alternate not looking to engage here. There is a track out on the Puck. Ghost, of course, has that Blink at the ready. Slithering Crush. Puck has to know what's coming, but Supreme gets caught out there in a lot of trouble. Will get brought down, and that was an important track kill.
Yeah. And with the track involved and with the bounty hunter being the hero dying, it's that kind of fight is usually going to be pretty good for Spirits. But on top of that, the fact that they get the rush right before it, like
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
yeah, I think they're starting to look a lot better. I mean, each time we see the combo, each time we see like the AoE combo come up Team Alternate, it's really terrifying, and we see how powerful it is. But I don't know, now they're going to be up against an Aegis, and we yet to see a fight where Spirit get the initiation that they want, and like really like solidly initiate, burst someone down, or either approach the fight in a split way that the AoE can't dominate you, or burst one target down very quickly. Either of those things could be really, really good for Spirits, and Alternates, we know what happens when they hit the combo really well, but are they hitting it really well? I don't know.
It looks like bait. Oh, cancel, not gonna follow it up. Oh, cancel, not gonna follow it up. Yeah, I think that for both Alternate and Spirit, we're in that for a very similar game to the Lost. It feels like Alternate have now got some teamfight tools on their hands. They can really blow up Spirit when it comes to a teamfight. On the other hand, as you said, they don't quite have the tower pushing yet. We've been getting closer to the Desolator, but until that's up, their tower push is low.
Yeah, and my concern for Alternate is that in a team fight, it's like if they get a nice juicy combo, it really can wipe the enemy team, but when the fight is more messy than that, their tools are not nearly as effective.
Yep, and all messy fights avoided. Casual zoning Split Earth laid down by the Elder Titan does probably save Exotic Deer's life there. Alright, Earth Splitter.
Oracle has a point booster.
Yes, Oracle does have a point booster.
I'm thinking of.
Hey, you're the analyst.
like,
I'm leaving that one to you, because I am. You know.
He would love to boost his points. I don't know.
We'll go with that, yeah. Either way, we'll see that Aegis, of course, up on the DK. They're looking for this fight at Alternate. TPing one in, Puck throws out the orb. Exotic Deer pushing forward. Their tower gonna be able to deny it. So that'll be that.
Top tower has been denied.
Yeah, I'm really not sure what item you buy with point booster on Oracle. Is it just like a value point booster maybe? Could be. Like Octarine could be nice, I think. It's like a pretty ambitious item to aim for. It's like a support Oracle.
If you start
and-
now, you'll have it at the 50-minute mark.
Sure. I mean, it's also your team like doesn't have 4 stops on anyone, so I don't know. Seems a strange build up to me, but I don't know. Oracle is a hero that does a lot more work by staying alive a bit longer in the fight, so tanking up is definitely an argument for that as well.
There is a not too much to say about that. So Ghostic has gone again for the pipe. This seems to be his preferred build. I think he'll work on the AC next because that's what he went last time. It was Radiance pipe AC on the bear. We'll see. And that there is a lot of magic damage coming out here, right? Puck has a lot. You got Elder Titan buffing it up as well. Obviously the Dogs here. Quite a bit of magic damage.
No, we were saying before, it's when the bounty gets a mech and the lone druid gets a pip, suddenly you do a lot of work. I mean, this time bounty's really far away from having that mech, but the pipe is there, and the main strength of Alternate's teamfight is that like explosive AoE, we crush you all of a sudden. Pipe is something that gets in the way of that.
Oh, they're going for it. They have had their smoke broken bounty hunter, unfortunately, was not caught by them. And again, we saw this in the first game. It feels like part of the power of this bounty hunter is just making your opponents waste so much gold. Team Spirit just chilling inside of their base. You can't punish them. They're nowhere to be found.
It's so interesting what's happening in this game. Like Spirit draft a draft which looks like it's a timing push. Alternate go quite all in on this like combo that deals very well with them at the high ground if the timing push comes early. And Spirit just seemed like their response is, well, you know what, all of our strength cores are already good at pushing, but they're also just scaling cores. We have like these 3 scaling DPS cores, and well, we're kind of happy to just keep scaling.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a sleep onto Gold Black. The rest of the team is there, ready to back him up. Puck gonna actually be in a little bit of a trouble. Manages to blink away. There's the vacuum pull back in, and Puck jumps back in. Drinks roll onto 3 of them if you include the bear. Nice split off. Does a bit of damage to her both. The Deather is up on the Weaver, but nobody's dead yet still. A nice false promise coming out of Funny. There we go. Weaver finally gonna bring down Gold Black. Needs to do a bit more work. Iceberg getting low. That Doom doing some damage, but Doom will fall. Puck ready to go back again. Iceberg no longer doomed up. Slithering Crush gonna be off the mark as Puck blinks away. And there's another sleep onto her both. Gets woken up. They blow up L. And it looks like for Alternate, they need to get on out of this fight. They're down in the numbers. They don't have much they can do to help. L will probably fall here too. Does go down to the Lost Purifying Flames. While Weaver escapes on the sidelines. Just not enough damage coming out of Alternate.
This is what I was trying to say before. They have insane burst damage at the start of the fight as they use all their stuff, but in any situation where Spirit come out unscathed or like mostly alive and able to turn around and fight, all of the initial spells will use the vacuum, the Puck ulti, the Doom, and only Bounty Hunter's dead. That's when you know Spirits have actually won the fight, because Alternate's lineup is not very good at like, okay, we've used round 1, now let's try and set up round 2. They're a round 1 kind of team fight situation. They need to win that round 1.
I also think that Lost team fight shows that the damage output from Spirit's really good, and so I think that's why the Oracle's going for the Ags, deciding that the Purifying Flames does do enough, that having it on the shorter cooldown is going to help a lot. I'm just surprised to see it over Glimmer Cape or other utility items.
I've never seen a Oracle go Ags. Honestly, I initially, like, that the thing that confused me at first, I initially, like, forgot that Oracle had an Ags. I was just like...
Only got upgraded this Lost patch, I think? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just the super short Purifying Flames, right? Which is, like, it's an obscure thing, because it's already ridiculously short, right?
Yeah, it reduces it, I think, down to 1 second, but it's already one of the spells with a very short cooldown. And as you said, if you go for something like an Octarine, it's almost... Obviously, the Ags reduces it way more, but the Octarine is also pretty short. Shortens your other spells. Octarine, of course, does cost more. It's just interesting to see it, as I said, over other utility items that I was maybe expecting out of this hero.
I mean, I'm very excited to see it, to be honest. This is the kind of thing where, like, Whenever there's new ags or new changes or something, you can only theory craft so much. You have to actually see something in action, have something to go on. So
I don't have the data if it's been picked up already. I know during the open qualifiers I saw it, but of course open qualifiers are often one-sided, so teams were going for it just to try it out. Okay, there we go, looking for the Doom onto the Oracle, but can't quite get it off instead. Tracktill's coming around from behind. Oracle takes a little bit of damage from the Weaver, but actually it looks like Kasser, being separated from the rest of the group, may pay with his life, still trying to run away. Elder Titan dies on the other side of the fight. Actually, it's just Lone Druid causing a lot of problems down there, and Doom will escape.
Yeah, well, still very clearly a win for Team Spirits. I mean, never mind the fact that they just went for 1 for 0, but it's again the same thing. Alternate really need their like initial engagement of the fights to go well. They need to get value out of that.
Yeah, it isn't for alternate. Obviously, they're falling behind in gold, but also, as you talked about, the objective taking after they win a team fight, they've done well on a couple, but now with the magic resistance popping up, with heroes getting tankier, it's harder and harder, and if Supreme gets caught out again, Iceberg on a killing spree, and they're still looking for more blood. Exotic Deer, not gonna be too bothered by the Fortune's End, but Iceberg, hasted, trying to find someone to throw out that Dragon Tail, is not able to. Weaver even pops the Lincolns over onto the Doom. It just feels like, how to alternate get the damage up to take these fights.
Yeah, it's what I was trying to say before. I really feel like they interpreted Spirit's draft as just the like timing push draft, which it kind of is, but it's also more than that. It's also very good scaling, and they don't have a good answer to that. We saw very clearly that if Spirit had forced the like group up, go high ground early on, they probably would have been massacred several times in a row. But Spirit just like bided their time. They were like, well, whatever, fine, we'll just keep scaling, and when we're comfortable, we'll go. And your lineup really doesn't. You've got like Weaver as your only physical DPS carry.
You're gonna need a lot more damage on this Weaver. And maybe Weaver's making a BKB next. Suddenly options, but right now 7,500 gold experience, gold and experience lead for alternate.
Yeah, Spirit looking pretty good.
All her boast. He's finished up the BKB. He's finished up an omelet, looking like he's working on the heart next, since that seems to be usually the path he goes, and he's just gonna be so hard to kill.
They all are, and that's exactly the problem. Like the only one that's easy to kill is the bounty hunter, and he's the kill. It doesn't really matter. Like it matters a bit. You know, he wants but if he's got it, let's say he's got a few tracks off of it and he dies, then it really doesn't matter. And they need to be able to kill one of the important 3 tanky cores as the fight starts. That's like super vital for alternates if they want to win a fight.
On the upside for alternate, they've got a gem again. Doxy is holding on to that business. Bought it himself this time since he's incredibly rich with that Midas, and now can start working in on the Shivas.
Yeah. So there's scalability on their team. That's why I keep specifically saying that Weaver's the only physical DPS scaling hero, but they do have other scalability, sort of like magical DPS and utility, and that stuff does matter. But I don't know. If Spirit only had 2 of those heroes, then I think it would be totally fine. But because they have all 3, and they're all tanky DPS, also like going to scale a lot and get a lot of value items and carry, all 3 together, I just feel like it's probably too much.
Yeah, it just comes back to what we said. Need more damage. Looking around, seeing if we missed any item pickups. Supreme's gonna go for that Aghanim Scepter as well. Very popular item on Puck's patch, and to see whether they can get it. Weaver is farming well, you know, 4th on the net worth, but part of that's because there are other heroes running Midases. Always hard to compete with that when you don't have something like Cleave, and alternate are in a position to contest this Roshan.
Yeah, DK and a lot of both have BKB, and it's like, what do you actually do against their BKBs? there's so little that Alternate's lineup represents against BKB when two of the carries have them, and the other one is a lone dude who's like super tanky holding a pipe. It is a difficult position for Alternates, and we're gonna find out very soon as the wraparound is coming from Spirits. Proposed wants to go in.
Are there other options here? Oh gosh, Exotic Deer going to break that smoke, needs to get out of dodge. The Doom opens up into Oracle, there'll be no false promise, but there are the BKBs, not caring as much of both, manages to get the slithering pressure, blowing up L. No split off coming out here, and now, let's see, the Puck in a lot of trouble. They will pick up the bounty, the rest of the team coming back to fight. Puck jumps out to the sidelines, but it's Doom in trouble again. Sonic is back in this fight. No longer doomed, and the Puck orbs not going to be enough. Exotic Deer trying to pick off Funnick here. Oh, one more. Needs to get it. Manages to. Needs to get away from this bear. Linkus has been popped. Needs to time-lapse backwards. And manages to Sakuchi away, so they do make it a 2-for-2. Support for supports.
Yeah, not having the reveal available to finish off the Weaver there, unfortunately. But I still think that's a win for Spirits. They getting track kills, and trading even is a win for them always in this game. The game is going to become more and more difficult for Alternates. And I think this is a pretty easy rush for Spirits, although Exotic Deer wants to go in. There's a Blink Vacuum as well.
Oh yeah, they managed to, no, only getting Iceberg up onto that ledge. Maybe it'll be enough though. Iceberg taking quite a bit of damage here, trying to use his armlet. They've gotten rid of the vision, the Earth Splitter comes out, they pick him off. And they should be able to get the roast on here. Yeah, the bear's a nice little consolation prize, but I think roast on the big bounty they're looking for. Immediately the bear resummon, and they will get Weaver and Aegis. A nice turnaround for Ultimate there, getting themselves also about 1,700 gold.
Yeah, and there's no, I mean, again, I'm going to use the terminology I was using last game. In fair fights, in that position, Spirit would easily have won. But Darkseid being able to, like, cliff someone, that's everything but a fair fight. It's, you know, there's a trick that you can use there, and works out very well.
Again, as you talked about last game constantly, it does seem that a lot of this is going to come down to the Puck player. Those Dream Coils need to be perfect, Waning Rifts need to hit on as many as possible. There's not a lot of room for error.
Yeah, it's much more difficult actually for the Puck this game, because there's more control. In the previous game it was like just a Doom with a very slow casting Doom animation without a Blink Dagger, but this game, if you get Blink stomped by a StarLadder, or if you get stunned by a Dragonite, you can pretty much just get the stun at the time of the stun.
Mahavos, he's getting close to that hot, as we talked about. We haven't checked in on Lone Druid's Bear in a bit, finished up the AC. I think last time... Oh, pardon?
The Oracle Eggs also reduces the cast time. I didn't realize that. So that's pretty cool.
I didn't think about the cost point, actually. Yeah.
Let me just check.
From 0.3 to 0.1. Oh, okay, we had a little bit of a go though. Dream Coil and the Doom onto Iceberg does have that BKB up. Gold Black getting very low. They'll manage to pick him up, but will not catch Iceberg. Is one pick enough for them here?
Nope. It is not. That's...
Can't just drop in the truth. Nope, it's not. Nope.
I mean, if it's one of the cores, it might be enough, but a bouncy hunter kill is never enough for them. It's like, I don't think there's any situation in this game where they like make a move and kill bouncy hunter and they're like impressed with themselves.
What about the split push potential? Obviously they're out of smokes on alternate, but they have a very mobile Puck, they have the Weaver. It does feel like they can try to do something around the map. Obviously Team Spirit also has a lone druid, which makes it difficult to have a split push against, but it feels like they might need to try something.
Yeah, I mean, if they're still in the game, you can get harder and harder for them.
Oh, they are blowing up Havos, forces his BKB out, and even though they don't get a kill, they did not expend a smoke or anything, so that's gotta feel worth it.
I mean, I feel like the main game plan for Alternate still has to be to try and like just be explosive in a team fight, and they still do have the tools to do that. But it's the problem is that it's like, to win the fight, they have to kind of commit and like use all their stuff, and then once they use all their stuff, if they didn't already win the fight, now they're committed and they're all gonna die, or a lot of them are gonna die. So that's exactly the word. It's a commitment. That's what they have to do. They have to make a commitment going into the fight, and it needs to work.
Well, they'll get the last out of tower. Obviously, with Weaver having that Deso up, gonna do a lot of good work there. Weaver also has that fresh BKB, so becoming harder to kill himself.
Yeah. Spirits are just waiting out the Aegis. It's got about a minute left on it. And Alternate are gonna see if they can force something out of the Aegis, but at the same time I think they're very hesitant to take the high ground, because that's... it's by far the most difficult place for them to get maximum value out of their big AoE combo.
Got mad pinging coming out. Something else to mention, obviously, is that Alternate have done a really good job of removing the vision of Spirit around the map, although, as I say, that Spirit looks like they're grouping up to go and get some more vision placed out. Saying that they don't have enough.
Regeneration.
Like, they have 2 tomes of knowledge in stock on Team Spirit.
I mean, some people haven't gotten used to it yet, but at this stage in the game it really doesn't matter that much.
Okay, that's gonna be a Doom on the Oracle. If they can pick him off, it means they won't have to deal with that false promise. They're getting very close onto the backing back. They managed to get him, and now they're trying to work it on Ghost Stick, but unfortunately Doom left alone there. They're chasing down the supports. Goldblack getting very low. Doom does end up falling. Goldblack will finally go down. They've got the Lone Druid there. He's silenced up, does not have the Savage Roar on himself, had it on the Bear, and a lot of them will be forced back around her. Both very low as well. Exotic Dia's been on the case there. Iceberg just gonna stand there and try and take it in the swarm. But he's too tanky of a dragon, and again, it's just supports for support. They back him back. Can they get the dragon or the bear? And it doesn't look like yes. It looks like Nisha will go down. The gems on the deck. Dragonite tried to pick it up, but wasn't able to. Exotic Dia got it. And again, it just goes back to what we were saying. Where's the damage?
Yeah, after the initial burst, the fight gets split up, and that's very favorable for Team Spirit. They nearly killed Slaughter. The Weaver almost killed him, but didn't, and that's kind of the difference maker. If the Slaughter does go down there, then I think that Alternate are much more confident to just chase forward and try and get more kills. And that is something worth saying about Armlet being so popular and how common it is at the moment. Like, Slaughter nearly dies, goes to really low HP, and instead of having to like run to base, circles around, toggles his armlets, and can blink back in and stomp someone.
Uses the heart regen as well. Puck has picked up a Dagon level 3 to combat some of this issue of no damage, but where do you go?
Yeah, I think it's the right approach. They have to still commit to their like bursty initiation. They just need to be getting slightly more out of it, and it is possible for them to. It's, you know, I don't know, there were fights like that early on.
Well, Slithering Crush are both going pretty deep in, but they immediately blow up the Bounty Hunter. That's the Dagon showing itself off. There's going to be a stomp. The BKB showing off by the DK. Cancer getting very low. That's going to be a dead Doom. The Split Earth waking up of both pops his BKB, and Nisha in a lot of trouble does manage to vacuum them back, but is already dead. Doesn't have buyback. It's going to be support for support in the core, and Team Spirit very happy with this. Going to enable their push.
And they push phenomenally well, so this is like this is very worrying without those buybacks up. I think this might be a side of Axes.
Well, we'll see what they can do. Still 55 seconds for the Darkseer here. Iceberg poking away at that tier 3. And look, just all the Purifying Flames. It also means more heals more frequently. Puck jumps in, gets some harass out, but the tower already below a quarter of its health and going to fall right here. It doesn't look like, as you said, there's much they can do against the Rax.
Doom's still ulti, he's about to spawn, so maybe they try fight or just fall, but
but unfortunately the Puck is stunned up, manages to get the Yules off. Doom throwing out that Inferno Blade. Where is the Doom, as you talked about? Needs to do something before the bear eats him alive, but instead he will get blown up. Doom just walks out to his death. Puck trying to do what he can. Trying to throw out orbs.
In the original fight, he died without dooming. He respawns, goes back and dies without dooming, and I hate to pick on the guy, but this was happening last game too. At that point, I was saying, you know, he was struggling to get farm, took a while to get blink, but it happened a few times after blink, and it's happened this game too. And I think it is something to do with positioning. It's at this stage in the game, unless you're super farm, your role can't be to turn on Scorched Earth and charge at people. You have to be making sure that you blink and get a doom off. Otherwise, you're not. That's like your main contribution to those fights.
Here we go. This is the second set of racks. Obviously, the range does still stand in middle, but for alternate, it gets increasingly important. They don't quite have the heroes that are best for wave clear. Dragon Form has been used. Doom will be respawning in a second. They have all their ults on alternate. They can make something big happen here, but Team Spirit just refusing to group up. Going on the range tracks. It's not here, getting stunned out here. Might just get brought down. He's gonna go down. Doesn't have buyback again. Puck jumps in, drops the Dream Coil onto 2. There's the wall back. There's the nice Earth Splitter, but it might not be enough. And the Rax is still falling.
Yeah. Without
Doom
the Weaver,
is dead.
Without they can do nothing without the Weaver.
Yeah, they just don't have the damage. The saving grace is there is still a tier 2 in top, but they maybe aren't done yet. The courier's down, they're looking for the Puck. Iceberg says, screw it, I'm just gonna work on the tier 4s here. Puck unable to get away, Slithering Crush, and Puck will go down. And that may just be it.
You know, I think Alternates had an excellent draft if Spirits had, like, if there was some rule that forced them to use their draft in the way that you'd expect them to. If they had to just group up and push you at 20 minutes, Alter would have destroyed them. But Spirit show, you know, the thoughtfulness there. Goblack shows that, you know, fine, our draft can hit its timing and push, but it can also just sit and wait and get a few more items, get a second, third timing, and then they can't handle us, and their draft doesn't scale that way. So, in a way, there's a sense in which the draft kind of trapped Alternates in this game. I think there was still opportunity for them to win it. They need a few slightly better fights early on, but the odds were stacked against them. It was a much more difficult game for them to win once